Wait, hold on. What's that name? The God Slayer PK4787 himself? PK, how are you doing this lovely Friday night after how many years of us not sharing the booth together?
It's been several tournament seasons since we've had the opportunity to discuss free enterprise race, and this time we're not also restreaming and tracking it, so we can actually focus exclusively on talking, which is convenient.
And you guys actually got to hear my intro this time. That's fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, we have yet another foray into the Summoners Tour. Our lovely hero Rydia is going to be given a whip, going to be given a summon, a partner, and we have all the summon locations to handle. King and Queen of Summon Monsters, Baron Basement, Cave Bahamut, and getting that Sylph summon by Waking Yang with the Pan. It's a nice little runaround of Rydia's journey. I've been very happy with the flag sets we've had. Something like this. We had Sid's fun, now we have Rydia's fun, and we also have the loveliness that is the upcoming tournament.
Indeed, and these are some fun flags. I ran this. We've been doing them. This is the second week of doing these flags. I ran these last week. It's a lot of, get underground, get the levels to defeat the king and the queen, and then pray that wherever you guess to find either the Baron key or the pan is correct.
Indeed. Also, a little bit of a shout outs to a nice throwback to Tybalt. We have Who's on First gag. I am 100% down with the throwback. That is probably one of my favorite comedy sketches of all time from Abbott and Costello. I'm loving the names here.
Good to see. Yeah, Tybalt, Plumeria Knight, E-Ninja, Cubs rule. This is fun with these two separate tournament brackets, because in my head I'm wondering who's going to decide to play in which one. As far as the red moon or the blue moon, what would your preference be to have this?
Preference-wise, I would love, honestly, to throw what skill I have as the Hook Route 2 winner. I would love to go against the Red Moon people, but in the same token, Blue Moon is just, it's T-Wildish, it's a good shenanigans time, and as much as I love to actually show what we can do, sometimes you gotta show what kind of wild things you can do, what kind of memes we can put around, because we love our jokes around here.
I'm with you. I like the Blue Moon flags for the shenanigans aspect of it, but I don't think I would be allowed to play that, unfortunately.
You may be slightly too good for the Blue Moon.
But it's one of my favorite beverages. It feels unfair.
You know what? No, that's kind of fair. It is a little unfortunate you don't get to have your favorite beverage tonight, but instead, you and I get to have a little beverage as we are getting close to having our racers start. It is almost the 10 o'clock. Also, as we're getting everything starting off here, I want to do a big shout out to those who we didn't introduce yet. Harumph, who is doing the fantastic restreaming, and Raging Levine, who is doing our tracking tonight. And speaking of tracking, we get to see our first key item is not a key item. We have Blitz, we have Odin. I am very happy we don't get to see the Dragon Whip or the Dragon King himself, who is honestly our first boss and hiding in Baron. With a Palom, Quake Kid makes the early game good when you get him some levels. Rydia is going to make the late game good if we can find some summons. Not a bad start. Give me some healers and someone to put in front of these kids.
Yeah, I mean, Rydia already being a little upstaged by the Black Mage who, gets spells early.
What?
But Rydia is the hero. So whether you want to or not, you might have to at least get through a fight on ordeals at some point with just her.
This is true, and we do have a little bit of divergence, but a lot of people are making great use of that free characters flag that we don't often have on. We have a Yang and a Porum, so we have a little French vanilla. I'm already here for this kind of fun things. And E-Ninja realizing, the free key items are not on. We've had them on so often recently that I can understand forgetting about that. And it's, it's just nice to go and see Bedward. But the real thing is the fact that with this T-Wildish, Troya has some really decent loot. As we're already seeing a Samurai Shield, and this little side treasury here of 8 chests is pretty decent. Again, Black Sword for a Cecil, diamond ring. Yeah, already if we find some characters and your signature
There
item.
it is. There it is. There's the Thunderclaw. Um, I will admit, when I ran this on Friday, I didn't realize free characters were on until after doing non-hops. So good on those who immediately went and collected some bonus characters, because what certainly would have helped me last Friday.
Speaking of characters, Cub's doing a cheeky character check, doing ordeals, getting a cane that's there. Might be useful, might not be, but we do have extremely useful character in Sid though.
Sid is huge. I even Kane with that ogre axe key or non-key item that you got off of the opening. I would have strongly considered taking that Kane in the back row and jumping, because at least for the first fight or two, he really could put out some damage. On the other hand, that Sid with the ogre axe.
Oh, White
is gonna
Spear
be
though.
good.
Yeah, in the little hidden waterfall, White Spear. Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing Kane's being picked up by a few people. And an Ice Brand, yeah, Kane is just shot up from like I pick him up because he's my boy. To you just jump on him right now, because that White Spear, not only is it great for damage, but casting Holy, even a weak Holy like this at this level, is great. You're looking at about 8-ish hundred damage. No boss is going to be able to stand up to that, aside from the ones that absorb Holy damage.
Yeah, it's Kane's second best weapon when compared to Spear, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have that. It is sort of, again, as you said, a cheeky check to go to ordeals. So I wouldn't be surprised if the runners that we saw collect the White Spear might not realize there is a Kane available until they start to make that check. That is often, the one character check that you put off, and right now it would be incredibly valuable.
Absolutely, and especially in a flag set like this, where if you don't find a Cecil, why are you really going to ordeals unless your underground access is hidden there? It's kind of like ordeals is the one place you can fade when you're not on a boss hunt, but more of a key item hunt, because it's 3 bosses to get one single key item. Here you get the added benefit of the character in the same token, so it's like it rises a little bit up. But if you've got a team that you're kind of happy with, like especially Tybalt has the twins, and decided he wasn't going to take that Edward, poor boy is going to be resting up in the tower. But twins, this is where you're getting through your early game of this seed.
Yeah, the bluff into twin is a heck of a utility early game, harkening back to some previous tournaments where you had a bunch of characters to choose from. And you could find yourself with this setup. After a few levels, once Pound gets to Virus, not nearly as necessary, but yeah. And the other thing with that Kane being on ordeals is he's not going to get any of this experience that the rest of the team is getting. You're going to see this Kane, and you're going to wish you had Kane when you did Hobbs, when you did Fabool. Nobody does Antlion. Antlion's not a real place. But going up ordeals, you would rather have 8 levels on Kane. And neither of them are going to have that at this point.
Absolutely, but if you get him some of the decent armor like we're seeing here, is again like we see some different shields, some okay armor for him. You throw him in the back line and you just use him as a pseudo caster with that white. He can still kind of pull his own weight right now. Not great depending on again which bosses we find, but he can still again be serviceable. As we see yet another Palom here in the Edward spot. So we have 3 twins within 2 locations. Also, a huge note that the Cubs took this DKC fight for some bonus experience and is looting really aggressively in the back of this watery pass. Honestly, super rewarded with that tiara.
Tiara is low-key like the best defensive non-adamant equip for any female character. It is something that I will purchase in a shop if for whatever reason I'm still looking at armor shops when I get underground. But that the boost to the wisdom, the magic defense, just all types of defense, that tiara is absolutely a huge early game item.
PK, where are Plumeria Knight and E-Ninja at? I don't recognize this part of the map at all. You said
No, it
there's
looks
a
like
place
they
that
got
doesn't
lost
exist?
looting Watery Pass.
Yeah, like it looks like it's got the same tile set. Well, it's one that may be required though. That's our hook route. You're not going to take that unless you're looking for exactly what that character is.
Yeah, imagine fading that against Inven in your first tournament and having it
What?
be
Never.
darkness that also leads to an edge and then losing.
I absolutely can understand that.
That's just a theoretical proposition.
Theoretical.
That's not what happened. That
What?
never happened. That doesn't exist somewhere in a VOD.
No, really. You know what? I think you're right. I don't think we ever need to go to the tape. Hey, can we go to the tape real quick, guys?
Yeah, no, I burned it. I've reported it to YouTube multiple times.
I respect that.
My thing says, Antlion is bad. Please remove.
Perfect. Speaking of removing and bad, we have the Bad Doctor, or the Mad Doctor, depending on how you want to look at him, with his little son creation of Balinab Z and Luge here at the Fabul Defense. I'm kind of here for it, while Cubs is doing cheeky looting of Evelyn Castle right now.
Yeah, this is really curious, Dathis. So if I happen to do Antlion this early in a seed, which is unlikely as Plumeria Knight has done, if you pick up that hook, where are you at? Because I think I would be diving that hook route because it's T Wildish loot and there's only one trap chest in there, right?
Yeah,
it's another character. It's a shop that can potentially give me two, top tier items. This is always when I get hooked, unless I have, say, only Baron in left, I'm going for that hook.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a quick check. If anything else, the character and the loot there, as you're saying, you have a shop with 2 tier 5/tier 6 items on average. And you've got a lot, like you said, so much loot and density in that area, plus a character check, and you get to see what the boss is. It could be an extremely free boss. There could even be an edge there. You know how much I love some vanilla. So, I mean, like, you gotta love that aspect. And it's just the possibility of that is what you're really looking for.
Yeah,
you
and
need
as our
power.
tracker, Raging Levine points out in the chat, there are passes are out there somewhere.
Yeah,
in various chests. So there is. I didn't realize this when I ran this, and I found one, and I was like, oh, that's good. That's one less thing that I have to worry about. But it's a lot of chests. There's a potential pass. There's obviously plenty of opportunities for good loot, and no, I mean, Plumeria Knight is an incredibly solid runner, is a fellow PK, so I can't argue against any decision making that they do.
this is very true. Yeah, there's going to be 2 passes here on the overworld. We got 1 underground, so they are going to be a little bit of everywhere. Tybalt, seeing this Kane, probably going to snap him up real quick. Yeah, especially over the Sid. I'm kind of here for this, even though Sid's like a nice chunk of your damage, but Sid, double twin, or double Palom and a Porum, this is kind of what you're asking for to get you through some early game boss, especially a White Spear Kane. He's just, yeah, Blizzard Spear, White Spear, Ogre Axe. Like, the boy is set up for as much success as you possibly can as a Dragoon here, and I 100% expect everyone to be picking him up.
Yeah, there's a lot of variability in sort of the choices that you can make right here. Like Yang, maybe right now, same with not necessarily the same with Sid. Sid is basically the same blob all the way through, but you have sort of the choice of going 2 Zerkers, a White Mage, and Palom and Rydia, or you have what Tybalt's going for here, which is essentially committing to getting all of these people up to nuke before Zeromus.
Yeah, this team does kind of scream reflex strats. Also, Kane already putting in the value. We have a Kane into a Valvalis. Is this Mount Ordeals, or are we in the Tower of Zot just reskinned?
Well, this definitely isn't your guaranteed underground access.
Nope, but this could be still where our magnet key is, because our hook was in a free area. So this could just be the secondary access.
Yeah, this always makes, like, when I see something like this gating, it's always in my head when I already have the hook. Well, hey, maybe this is a better underground access. But still, I'm still taking that hovercraft over, because that shop and that loot is almost all the loot you're going to need for the rest, unless you don't find the pass.
Absolutely. Also, big shout outs to Xenocat, who's in chat. She's mentioning that Val here has no magic defense, so as fun as jumping with Kane is, you actually don't even need to do so. You can just let the magic fly, and with 2 different spellcasters, yeah, that's kind of what everyone's going to be doing.
Always impressive when somebody that knows. I know it's like a few locations for Val where Val doesn't have magic defense, but my typical strategy is check and find out, and then just be like, oh, so Val has magic defense.
So about that Ogre Axe, that's going to be the only way Kane is going to do damage to this thing here. We have Pale Dim in the back attack spot. Honestly, not a bad fight, but the problem is, aside from Twin Magic, this counters all magical spells with the element that's cast on it, and it absorbs all of them as well, or is strong against them. So you use this. Oh no, I guess not wholly.
Well, we're seeing Plumeria actually take your strategy, even as you discredit your own strategy.
Right? I was gonna say, oh, we just got Twin. I remember it like you don't want to throw element on this. I guess holy's the one that it just doesn't care about.
I think you meant a boot, but I'll let that slide.
Look, we're just gonna throw that one oot right now and talk about it later.
So outside of this hook, we have no key items. This has sort of been curious ordeals, giving us one more shot after this with Baron in. This could depending on the items that are for sale and what people do, this kind of potentially leads to one of those hook routes that is a higher probability of being devastating, just because you haven't had the opportunity to get an extra 11, 15,000 XP at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot that we are not going to have access to. The trap chests in Eblin and through the underground are going to be very big. Like, those ogres are going to be life glitched for what we need there. The key item here, that is a Baron key, so that is still another chain. And we have Water Hag, or nope, we have Rydia having to go through the alt gauntlet. This is you're kind of here for this, but in the same token, poor Rydia.
This is okay. So on the positive side, you get your health back each round. On the negative side, this is insanely long, and
especially for Rydia.
Yeah, it's a Rydia, and you may have gone in here with the hubris of, this won't be that bad. I don't need to equip Rydia with X or equip Rydia with Y. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna get interesting. There are a couple fights here, and the issue with burning like the big bombs now is that like the 2 Lamia fight is not gonna be fun if you don't have.
No, absolutely not. Tybalt though making great use of this dancing dagger though, uses again, as you mentioned, the big bomb into that. But I think it's at that point we also have Odin from our starter kit that you can use against the Lamias. I'm fairly certain, because I don't think they count as undead. But as of right now, you're basically just looking at what we got and going, what are we gonna do? We got a Chocobo summon and Dankton daggers on Tybalt's side. Yeah, that's a fight or something you're not looking forward to. Whereas we have Vanilla Young and the dolls here, the first fight of Baron, and this is a seed and a half right here.
So there are 2 Youngs. This is, I mean, given the knowledge that we have, this is, if Cubs rule can get through this, Baron Key, it's cool to have, but
this could be
underground sooner rather than later. Like, this Ordeals fight is going to set everybody back, and this is, as we see Plumeria Knights getting to the fight, that it's just slow. And Harumph, our restreamer, pointed out someone had found a self-summon. Self-summon's still not great because you gotta cast it 3 times, and no one wants to listen to that sound 3 times.
Yeah, no, it's like the nuke sound. You're just not a big fan of it. As we see, so many of these fights have this Soul and Revenant combo, which is really unfortunate because you have half the encounter that's weak to fire, and the other half that says "Give me my HP back, please." So it's like you can't really just throw one style of element at things and say, "Oh, this is going to be perfectly fine." It's just how it's going to work. But yeah, Dancing Dagger again, probably one of the best looted items for Rydia here. As I mentioned, a Dragon Whip's fantastic, but in the same token, just straight up doing about 300 damage everywhere is great. Or if you're doing what Plumeria Knight does, a cheeky Chocobo, which I'm kind of here for, you love it. Again, 180, but it's free damage that doesn't get countered.
And we find a pink tail over on Cub's side for Baron Inn. That's less than ideal. I don't think there are adamants on in this. I'm not entirely sure because I don't remember the flag.
No adamants.
Could be something good. We've seen a decent amount of good things, but depending on Cub's routing, if that, as someone in chat has pointed out, if that happened to give like a Stardust Rod, the time save, like on this gauntlet.
Oh yeah, absolutely
phenomenal.
And I see Cubs looking at the vanilla Demus spot. I'm 100% here for this. I am in fact on comms. I have a higher weighting towards what vanilla shows up or not, according to everybody else in the restream team. So you got to follow the memes. That is the comms team. Yeah, he's going for this antline check. He's 100% committed to fading the ordeals, which it could be required for quicker underground access. It could just be he takes this and runs underground. The really interesting thing is I would still love to see who is on this hook route as a character. That's the big thing I've got on my mind right now.
And Lord Goober saying that Cubs pulled an Avenger. I mean, the Hanzo Steel is, I mean, obviously Hattori Hanzo Katana Katatata is nice, but that Avenger could provide some immediate value.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, it's in the cards to fade ordeals entirely, but Cubs has Virus on Palom. Cubs' Rydia is just way stronger than any of the Rydias that are currently
finally
in these
through
fights.
that fight,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, we were there for a hot while, too. Like, what, a solid, 5-6 minutes? This is... You have to chase this Baron Key now. Like, you've committed to taking those fights. You're there. Yeah, you take it. You don't care what happens in Baron. You're like, I'm here now. I'm fighting this Bahamut. Like, it is required, so you're going to have to do this eventually. But I'm almost of the mind of, you come back with, 5 or so more levels on Rydia, or even after you do an underground section. So you have, Shiva, and you just cast Shiva the entire way through these fights.
Yeah, that's, this is one of those situations where if this was me and I was running this race, I would not have checked the summon on Hobbs. But this is one of those few positions where, man, I really wish I had checked the summon on Hobbs.
I think it was Imp. I think Tybalt checked it and then reset out of it, as far as I remember, but I'm not 100% sure. I can neither confirm or deny.
So, if we just say Cubs is an Avenger and just ditched that Kane?
Wait, he actually ditched the Kane? That is a...
Didn't take the Kane. Oh, it was Imp? Okay. We were out here with all the intel. You should be in the booth. I have no idea what's going on.
Do we ever really have any idea what's going on? I think this is just them confirming that they don't want to put you and I together because there is a race going on. And we are 100% paying attention. I do want to give a shout out again to the runners, Tybalt, Plumeria Knight, E-Ninja, and Cubs Rule for putting on this show and letting us restream them. We are actually paying attention to the way you guys are running, we promise. It's just, you got to have a lot of fun up here in the booth. You guys got to give them a follow. Big shout out to them.
What a god to Cubs Rule to just straight up throwing magic at that Valvalis.
Yeah, that's great knowledge, to be honest.
Did not even hesitate. If I was running this seed, you would have seen me do the little freak out run buffer thing and then decide to throw magic. But two-shotting Valvalis, this is... Wait, when you start with an Hourglass, going into Castle Evelyn has there's a much higher return rate, because you can take, typically speaking, one of those trap chests. And now you have Virus, and Virus again. Failed him. Virus. Done. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. The back attack spot has a bit of HP for this section, but you're okay with throwing out the viruses and everything. And the really nice thing is when Cubs gets to this this fight here in Baron. Actually, I think he already, he already did it because this is where he got the pink tail. If he had virus for that, it would have been like Plague would have been all done, but the Cryon. But this is still just like this is fast for everybody here. Like this fight's just gonna be no problem for anyone, which is great.
Yeah, and White Spear Cane is pretty strong against flying enemies. Also, mad respect to Cubs for not going for more.
I mean, we love the sound of Sylph. Don't let anybody say anything different. Except
Sound
for
of Sylph,
everybody.
is that a Simon and Garfunkel song?
I'm gonna say I wish.
No,
But
that was Ski Low. That was Ski Low. I wish was by Ski Low.
Oh man, so we have Plumeria Knight and Tybalt both saying no thanks to the Yang, both getting themselves their pink tail. Plumeria the only one who can actually turn that in right now. Tybalt is going to take a quick save, which I 100% agree with, and then dumping right back into Baron. Yeah, the fate of Antlion, Tybalt is making you proud, and I'm 100% here for it too. And Cub's about to get the lovely bad news. So let's time this. 23-25, let's call it. 23-25, he goes into this fight. I'm curious to see how long it's going to take him to get out of it, but yeah, I expect about a 5-minute run.
Yeah, it's not going to be fast for anyone. With the Rydia hero in particular, if it had been Palom and he had gone in with Virus already and no one else had, that's a huge save. But the current setup is, subpar.
Yeah, we see the guy that was tossed out in the first run was gigantic.
This potentially actually could run into a wipe because he's got Rydia front row.
Ooh, I didn't even notice that, but the nice thing is, again, Sylph doing a chunk of healing, which is great. And he's making... this is fantastic use of your items. You do love the dancing daggers, but Cure 2 pots just as good if you're using them. Tybalt fighting this behemoth that we started off our item with, and can say, hey, I need to run through to find out who's running the joint today.
And to answer a question in chat, the Sylph sound effect is actually taken from the movie Kung Pao Enter the Fist. The guy's wife, instead of actually speaking any sort of language, just says "whew, whew," over and over again. That's where they got it from. Just fun little trivia response there.
You know what? I never knew that. PK, thank you very much for that. I am so glad that I get to be joining you in the booth again, and that we are never going to get punished by never letting this happen again. Again, big shout outs to you for being my co-commentator, and Harumph and Raging Levine, our commentator, our restreamer and our tracker, respectively. Raging having a bit of fun with all these key items coming in fast and furious, and Harumph wondering when he's gonna mute you and I and just do commentary with him and Levine instead.
I think Rumph is at least patiently waiting to see whether there's a required harp.
You mean angrily hoping it doesn't happen?
Yeah, wishing, praying, hoping. We'll see. My favorite part about this ordeal is it's 100% required.
Yep. And hey, look, there's the other blue robe.
Oh, if only you could trade places.
Right. Unfortunately, no Senator Crocodile for us.
Yeah. That is a good use of, back row white. Like, granted, I think Kane would probably still hit from the center, but all you're looking for are guaranteed hits here.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want to mess around, take the hit, and kind of go. Even the bonk with Porum is very fantastic.
I mean, who knew that Water Hag's greatest ambition was to, be a monarch? It's just something to keep in mind. They all have things.
Everybody seems to want to have their chance at Baron Throne. I don't think I've seen Water Hag's proposals, though. I'd be very curious to see what platform they're running on. Unfortunately, it looks like everything's just kind of crumbling around them, and we're going to get a look at
He's
what
he's
the
a
items
big
will be.
fan of making things wetter in terms of wetness. Uh, it's like,
I've
why is
honestly
this
heard, though,
proposition just about wetness again, Baron King?
but PK, I've heard that it's better down where it's wetter.
Under the sea?
No, there is no C here. Instead, Sid's not here. We have a Rosa instead. That Tybalt is yeeting poor Porum, who has been here since near the beginning, and says, "Nah, I don't want you. I want the other white mage."
Well, I'll take it from you. Just don't take it from me.
Hey, look, Golbez is trying to help people out here. Look, he actually is a good person.
He cares. He cares now. This. So, you've got your Baron thing. You've got this locked. You have this out of the way. I'm wondering if this presents another overworld.
Ooh, hook route
If it
required.
had presented another overworld check, like something like the harp, if we saw some deviation in our runners, because I mean now all you're looking for is the pan.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I do see Tybalt thinking he's just going to completely finish with Baron here. I'm 100% here for this cheeky check. The save at least so you know who you're going to be fighting. Also to check him with Cubs rule, he is through that gauntlet. He got through that really quick. From 25,
Yeah,
25, sorry,
relatively
23 to 25 to
speaking,
27. Yeah, 4 minutes, pretty
was
good.
what was an issue or two with that front row. That is, again, I think I brought that up when we saw that, but that's the cheekiness of the sea hero when you just like you don't save after the back attack spot and you just go, well, this is probably gonna be fine. I have a bunch of J items. What's the worst that could happen?
That.
The worst thing happened.
But yeah, Tybalt spies, hey, look, it's a Maga Sisters down there, and says, I'm gonna deal with you later. And then proceeds to go check for the free guards fight that you would love to see elsewhere, where Plumerionite is showing us, I say just a white shirt, but throw that on any of your healers, and
Yeah.
that's some really good magic defense for Zeromas.
As far as the pink-tail turning goes without adamants on, I'll take a white shirt all day.
Yeah, I think, like you said, a Stardust Rod would have been, quote, ideal, especially for this Palom. Anything else, though, honestly, really solid of an item. And yeah, Plumeria is going and doing, just jumping right down into Eblin. I'm okay with this. Tybalt getting the bad news that that place that you believe does not exist, in fact, exists with everything we need to get underground. Oh, Artemis Bow.
This would be a great seed for my sprite to show up. I'll just say that. But yeah, this is sort of Plumeria Knight was the one who's had this hook for the longest of any of the runners, because they all agree that you don't do 8-line until very last. But that type of gear, that type of looting, everything else, it's just coffins, which justifies it a little bit, but you have a lot of loot that you can pull out of here, and this is, T Wildish is a thing.
Yeah, there's still a lot of money that can be made. Samurai Bow, if we didn't just pull that Artie Bow, would be a really good thing I'd be eyeing up there, especially for the Sid that we could have.
Yeah.
Some good items here. Crystal Ring too. Yeah, this is a place, especially with the hourglasses that everyone has. I would be full looting, and I would take the extra fight here, just because you never know what's going to be in that chest. It could be something fantastic. It could be something medium. We could pull a Bahamut out of there for Rydia. Like, there's so many possibilities of loot that's in these trap chests, and especially if we see a Cecil here. I mean, it's a
Maybe
foo.
that's why you want to check periodically. FF4FE is not as bad as an edge on the moon when you're racing him down, but
Yeah, this is
if
one of those.
Marion Knight had had
Here.
this earlier, I would assume they would have taken the waterfall and the Mist Cave boss as well.
Oh yeah,
So,
those two extra
like
bosses,
that
6
knowledge,
spells.
this knowledge would have potentially been helpful, if brought to my attention yesterday.
Absolutely. Now the real question is, what are we gonna hope for with the plethora of spells here? Because he can have a whole bunch. We got Life 2, we got Exit the Important One, we
Oh,
have
there it is. Yeah.
Quake and Nuke? Oh my lord. Yeah, that is a stacked foo. There is,
Okay,
yeah.
never mind. You did not need to do 2 bonus fights. I mean, you probably might have considered it just for the sake of you already are there and you can knock them out. But yeah, this is a wrench thrown in. You know, whenever I run a seed, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, how am I going to beat Zeromus? How am I going to beat Zeromus? And then I find a foo I'm like, oh, I was going to do Zerkers. Now I'm not going to do Zerkers. Like,
Yeah,
this
this
changes
is
everything.
yeah, seeing what's on that foo, I would be very tempted to just kind of go back, go to the Tower of Wishes, pick up Porum, and just be like, "This seed is over. We're reflecting right now," because the only thing you do is again, like we saw the pull of the Avenger, the X-Cal. If we see a Cecil, we could just kind of lean in on that really hard. But until then, I would be going all the kids and Foo. So basically, Foo's babysitting day out, which he absolutely hates when he has to, but it's going to be how we're going to fight Zeromos. Almost like 1200 HP strats, to be completely honest.
I like to think the kids love when Foo babysits because he just falls asleep on the couch.
He's that
And
really cool
pays no
babysitter that like
attention.
lets you stay up way later than you should. Has or when he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna order pizza," and then it has like 3 extra pizzas out of their own money just because he really wants to be the one that comes back, so he's always brought in, and then yeah, just like naps on the couch later.
And Tybalt proving the value of looting the hook route. I saw a Stardust Rod and a ribbon. So
Ooh.
again, if any of the runners had gone in there and pulled that Stardust Rod before doing ordeals, that's potentially 2.5 minutes of save, I would guess.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of those you kind of look now and you just, and especially if I was running and I see that Stardust Rod, I'd have just been like, why are you doing this to me now? Also, let's talk about how quickly Plumeria Knight just looked at Leviathan and said, "Can you get out of my face?" and just ran right up to this evil wall, which is not going to be much harder with a nuking foo.
Yeah, this, in this spot, Evil Wall is not incredibly fun, but the hits aren't going to hit Foo for that much. I was going to point out, I know there was a Soma drop, I believe, in the Watery Pass,
There was.
and I would have probably have sold that by now, but if I was running this race, I would really wish I had that bonus nuke cast, particularly against this Evil Wall, because you still need to get a little bonus damage, because 3 nukes from Foo will put you at like 15, 16,000.
Yeah,
maybe up to 18, but you still need to figure out that last 7,000 worth of damage.
and I don't think we've seen any ethers. So I do.
That is the question.
So I do like what Tybalt's here is doing. Is like Plumeria Knight's team can take this. This is a team that has like a fair bit of HP in Foo and Sid, but you kind of need a little bit extra of an oomph, especially if you're on Tybalt's side. You don't have that Sid, so you have a White Mage Rosa who's barely leveled, and you're kind of just like, I need what you can do for me. I need all the spells that you can get, and we're probably gonna get Berserk off this, honestly. And it's just gonna be the Berserk Cane. Rydia is gonna just be on the ground, in all honesty, and yeah, just Foo doing his nuke things. You need the extra HP.
Yeah, the bonus damage, the extra HP, and the thing with the Rydia hero without something like a Curse Ring is Rydia doesn't learn any good black magic spells, but what Rydia does do is get a bunch of agility really quickly for no good reason.
Ooh, Protect
So
Ring.
this, at least, I guess, assuming that, or no, Plumeria Knight didn't get the ribbon. Tybalt got the ribbon.
Yeah,
If
Tybalt
you
has
put
all
that
the
on
goodies.
Foo, then it's technically free.
Oh, can we talk about what Tybalt just grabbed? I know it's like
Yeah.
really lesser item, but even an Ether 1 right here is just gigantic when you're just having Foo throw out every spell he can.
Yeah,
That's-
literally 12
yeah.
bonus MP. Could be the difference in this fight.
Absolutely. And again, we're getting the characters up. I think we're in crush phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where we're at, like the life roulette now. We're kind of playing. We're hoping Palom stays up. We're hoping Kane can get a good couple of hits. Honestly, you're hoping Rydia is the one that gets knocked down a lot. Yeah, look at that just litany of spells that you have here on Fu. Nuke, Quake, like basically everything you could use.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, Plumeria Knight 100% going to win this fight, but this is just, when you're in the midst of this is where you're like, I am giving up time
Yep.
to other people, or I'm giving time back. There's a lot that runs through your head here. You
Panic.
don't have a fourth nuke, and of course, Evil Wall crushes the Palom that has a virus queued up.
Yeah, that's the worst. Although the nice thing about Plumeria is that Lilith Rod.
Yeah.
That MP is so clutch. Again, stealing MP from your allies is the biggest like little bonus battery you can find, and I'm 100% here for Cecil being an MP battery, and that's about it. To answer a question in chat, Rosa was in Baron Castle. Also, shoutouts to Plumeria for making that look way easier than what it really was.
No, it is not that simple, and they did a good job of, you'll see runners where they'll cast those 3 nukes and sort of let everyone be dead, and that is not how you want to play that fight. You want to know in your mind, I'm going to get to the crush phase, and then I'll get, X number of turns between crushes. You can't only have one person up when you get to the crush phase, unless, obviously have a ribbon on or something, but...
Yeah, but that's just like
well
knowing
done.
how the AI is going to work and knowing what your party's going to be and knowing that you have the power to get through that too, right? It's not just the whole like, oh, well, I need the characters up for this. It's why do I need the characters up? Well, because if Crush hits not Fu and not Palom, then I'm perfectly fine and I can just keep rezzing that person. It's also about what you have as items too. Like we had a fair amount of life pots. If you don't have life pots, then that's a scarier fight just in that regard.
Oh yeah, of course. And meanwhile, we see Tybalt, as opposed to using nuke, throwing a grimoire and going for a more, I don't know, traditional route of defeating this Leviathan. I'm relatively curious. You get your MP back after the next fight, so I would be curious to know why.
Lit
Plan
arrows
was
just for fun.
For the sake of it.
As mentioned in chat, and I'm kind of agreeing with Berserk now. Murderous Warrior Princess Rosa doing damage. I'm 100% here for Rosa and Porum bonking things, so that's what we're here for. We do have Plumeria looting a nice Leviathan, historical archivist.
I didn't catch the last word.
Historical
either.
archivist.
Okay.
So seed validated Leviathan, which is fantastic, and you'd have loved to have seen it 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And hey, heroin robes for sale.
And Plumeria Knight, done very well to be the first one underground. I do think this Evil Wall fight is going to be a lot simpler for people who have a little more experience at this point.
Yeah, the extra levels on Tybalt's Cane especially. Like, look, he took that for a 500 hit. No problem whatsoever, still standing. We have a couple of Berserkers going. That Rosa with the Artemis bow, really honestly going to be very big, and clogging up the turns is kind of what you're asking for here. And yeah, look at this. She's throwing out 1,000 damage a round, which is nothing to scoff at when you're seeing Fu having to throw out MP for the 6,500.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Tybalt isn't going to have to deal with the crush phase.
Oh, absolutely not.
Cubs as well. Just having a Zerker going during this fight will sort of finish the damage that you're looking for when you do the calculus on, okay, so I have 3 nukes and a Quake, and that's probably about 20k, and I need to get to 25k.
Yeah, absolutely. And also seeing the damage that's just being thrown out. Again, Sid not throwing out a lot, but it's enough. And these blinks making it so that Fu is going to be very safe when getting up until that crush phase. Because that's hey, look, another Leviathan that we can buy this time if we really want.
Maybe we have one Leviathan, yes, but what about What about second Leviathan?
I'm kind of okay with a second Leviathan. And speaking of being okay, Tybalt with a fairly healthy team. Honestly, the 4 people you need up because Riddy is going to get her XP regardless. You're super down with that that outcome. Great fight, all said and done by him. A lot of people do say that levels solve everything. They do when you're looking at a hook route that is that rude.
Yeah, and this is this is sort of where everything gets curious, and a lot of it depends on if you find sirens, because obviously top of mind is I want to get the king and the queen spot done. Um, but do I want to run down there with my team as is? A dwarf is a great source of experience, and we don't have an edge to steal sirens, so we're sort of in a position of what kind of loot do I get, and when do I feel comfortable going down into the land of summon monsters, because I don't want to walk that twice.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is running it more than once is usually not ideal, especially when you have to do it. You kind of want to make it a one and done trip, but it does depend on what we see down there. If we see something that's free, then yeah, we're going to kind of do a one and done. But if we see the rudeness that we know and love that can be there, then you're kind of be like, well, maybe I'll come back later, check with this free idea. Hey, and Plumeria checks one of the chests, gets a pass. The one that's in the underground is in Dwarf Castle.
That is convenient. Did we change the pass icon?
No, it's the same that it's been. I
Is
do
it?
love the icons.
Interesting.
Again, huge shout out to Scholar Kitty for the work. The tracker that we use for pretty much all of our races is of Z's design, and the icons are super cute, and I love all of them. As E Ninja pulls out his Excalibur from the stone, sorry, the chest.
Um, this is, I mean, this is a fun team comp because, in my head, I still have a couple opportunities to find a Cecil and turn this into, sort of a hybrid setup. But I like this play from Plumeria Knight specifically because I think, as I said, they're just going to go for levels, and then maybe try to go underground or down to lane to summon monsters. There is the free key item check there, but
No, that
oh, what a
witch
god!
burn!
What
What a
god!
witch burn! So that ribbon we picked up from Tybalt is going to be absolutely invaluable. So we have Wyvern swapping with Witchburn, so it can use any spell out there. So what it used is it used Breath, which is the same attack used by the D-Lunars, which puts all status effects on everybody. Thankfully, Fu dodged it and was able to get off this nuke, but now you have one character. Yeah. You resist one status effect, you resist them all. And you know what? Oh, come on. And there's your Cecil.
Yeah,
What
there we
is
go.
this
Now,
seed?
yeah, so
Plumeria.
now I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna go Zerkers if it's me. Oh man. Okay. Question maybe for chat. Can you reflect the D Lunar Breath onto Wyvern and have a Toad Wyvern? I mean, it works on the D Lunars and they have the bit, right?
I think Wyvern has the bit, but I'm not sure. I'd be very curious.
The D Lunars have the bit,
there.
and it still works on the D Lunars, right? Like,
that's very interesting.
you get the idea that I'm. Oh man, this is.
You know what? For
glorious.
science later, PK, you and I should download the seed and find that out. I would love to know. But yeah, so Plumeria, who has not pulled out these Excaliburs, is definitely turning down the Cecil. I'm kind of agreeing with it because I think Plumeria's fully said, "Hey, I want my reflex strats, and that's what we're doing." I'm very curious if Cubs, Tybalt, and E-Ninja are going to pick up the Cecil. We're going to find out what Cubs is going to do in a few seconds. I think it's you take it.
I mean, this is huge for Cubs. You have to take it.
Oh,
I mean, at least ditch Kane at this point, because A, Cecil's going to get slingshotted on 30k. B, you can see that it's a free fight, so you can actually get 2 life glitches off if you want to, and slingshot on 45k. in I mean, D, it's Cecil with a holy sword. Like
Tybalt and
it's
Tybalt
better than
also kicks
Kane.
out Cecil. So Cubs, yeah, as we said, does pick up the Cecil. 100% agree. Tybalt says no to him, which I'm kind of okay with. Again, I love this. This is fantastic.
This is a lot of variation in this. And mage parties are great. Obviously, I'm gonna attack mage parties at the end of this statement, but the problem for me with mage parties is we're at this point where we're in the middle of the game, and that's when mage parties have their biggest difficulty. So like just a Zerker swinging for 3,200 is faster and safer, than having 5 mages or 4, whatever the
Agreed. But
setup
what your
looks
thing
like.
is you're still looking at what your end is going to be for Zeromas, and you're looking at what you have to fight for the last encounters. And the big bads are kind of out of the pool. You don't have to deal with, oh, hey, look, is it, we have quarter leg, or we have full leg here. Unfortunate, we'd like to see him elsewhere where he can show up. There's the thighs.
Put your left leg in. Put your left leg out.
But as we're
then
continuing on,
yeah.
And there he goes with the virus. So as I was mentioning, you have the ability to get through the worst of the fights for these mage teams. Val's already gone. You just dealt with Wyvern, who is kind of a pain because like Quake is the only option for it. The only real problem for mages left is like questionably Golbez, just because of how it is. Evil Wall's not much of a problem because you got that gone and you no longer have to deal with the headaches of the counters. Oh, and Paladin's gone. The only thing left is Ogopogo.
The problem with the mages moving ahead is we haven't seen Sirens yet.
True.
So what's your plan? Like, you have to beat the king and the queen, and they're not going to give you a key item. Even if you end up with the pin, you need to grind. But in Excal Cecil at level 42 with a couple nukes from Fu is going to get you through a Zeroma's fight. Don't even say that, Zeno. Okay.
So there is the comment from Zeno that PK doesn't like, and a lot of people honestly don't either. And it is long, it is efficient, but man, is it kind of boring to watch. Everyone loves seeing the D money grind. Without the Fey March, we will see within one of these checks, we are going to get the Darkness Crystal. And at that point, you just put these mages up to nuke and you just say, give me the rest of this seed. And that is exactly how it can go.
D money will be available, quote unquote, without Fey March, but it's like a 1 in 3, it's like a 1 in 4 shot right now that the Fey March freebie has Darkness. And I mean, strategically I understand it. I'm just saying that Cubs rule with a Cecil with some Dragoon Armor and a back row glitch and an Excal negates having to do a D money fight. You already have a Fu with nuke. This isn't the position where I feel like it's mandatory. This is the position where I feel like Cubs has a huge advantage for having found that Excal, the Avenger, etc.
Absolutely, and it also does depend on what we find again here in these Fey March fights. Now, imagine if we find Mylon Zed here. Well, what does Excal Cecil say to Mylon Zed? I was nice, thanks for coming out. Get out of here. We see D-Looters. That's one of the only also fights that you kind of look and go, well, we're gonna just berserk you down and call it a day, because what are you gonna do? You're only double weak to Excal, but oh no, I'm still probably gonna be popping about 6-7k a hit. And when you've got 16k to chew through, maybe there, not even, so it's 8k, so you're hitting them four hits and the fight's over. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. This Excal Cecil is gonna do some great work, and it's not gonna be fair.
Yeah. So this is this will get curious. This is Tortoise versus the Hare. Cubs took a little extra time to do a little extra looting, and is now in a much better position to run down here and get through these fights. I mean, it depends on who they are, but a well equipped with, you know, like a dragoon helm, ninja hat, whatever, Cecil in the back row with the back row glitch. Oh, those are fights. Those are some fights.
Yeah, I'm. So the problem is that that Demus is gonna put someone down each round, 100%. So, um, that's a Demus that's gonna be a long slog. So I hope Hruff has some good music queued up, because we're gonna be listening to either the boss music for a while or something that our DJ Spoony Harp Hater wants to let us listen to, because that is not fun. Uh, for those of you who are not in the know, Leviathan normally only casts magic and uses Wave, as we see Tybalt doing against this Baigan fight at the top of tower. Uh, Unfortunately, that means that the coding that Leviathan spot has the highest attack in the game, tied with the Bahamut location. So you get someone there that does the punchy things, he's gonna hit you hard and you're gonna fall down almost exclusively every time.
Yeah, as far as ideal fights for berserkers go, neither of these are ideal. Mom Bomb, if you can't cover the bonus damage spread, you actually could find yourself in a interesting spot depending on how much of the damage it explodes to. Wasn't an issue for Cubs, but hopefully Cubs has watched enough of my demissed YOLOs. If I'm Cubs here, here's my strategy. I'm just putting the Avenger on Cecil before the fight and throwing out some nukes and praying that I do enough damage in the first round.
Also, just throwing it out there, that tower is 150% required. We have Darkness Crystal and Pan coming from the tower key and the top of tower. That's just fantastic. Like that's you can't script this any better sometimes.
So Moon
Yeah,
already haunted. Wow, that is so many things not required.
yeah.
Great work,
So
Hero.
we have Plumeria, who is in 100% go mode essentially. Just has to go and clear these fights down here. Yeah, a couple of Ether 2s. I 100% agree. You need the old man to have a drink or two just so he can keep up the MP. These are going to be fights. That's about the best I can say. They're fights.
Well, and you know, Plumeria Knight doesn't have the Cecil damage, but again, when it comes to Demist, it's not an incredible
You don't need
loss.
the Cecil damage because the Excal does half damage, right? So,
But also, Plumeria Knight's coming down here with the knowledge that yeah, he's in go mode. This is go, you know, this is go mode. All I have to do is go and do Cape Bahamut. Plumeria Knight also the only one with a pass.
yup. Basically goes, fights Bahamut, comes back down if he's got the levels, and then just says, "Let's fight Zeromus," which he's lower-ish tier. Oh no! Wow, takes the save and
So
says, "You know
I don't
what?
disagree with this play
Nah,
from
I'm
Plumeria
yeah,
Knight at all. This is I'm gonna go check the moon for the character and sirens, and then I'm gonna figure out my grind. Or you know, I'll at
yeah,
least do like hair dryers. You know, there are a couple options for XP, but both of those fights would be really slow. If you're gonna go with a mage party, you might as well just come back when your mage party's ready.
yeah." You have 3 fights left to do. You know exactly what your path is. This is where we may see a couple of dragons appear on screen. I don't know. That's a possibility. It depends. Like again, you could do that. We could find sirens and crack eggs, or defeat the dragons on the moon. The leveling options right now are wide open until we do not find sirens. They are Schrodinger sirens right now. They are both on and not on the moon at this exact same time.
Yeah, and this is you know it's a 7 key item grind, so you know there isn't the possibility that you're gonna pull key items because K summon isn't on.
Correct.
So at this point, these are all the key items you're gonna have. Uh, so it is not a huge advantage to you know putting your grind off until after you complete other things. So this
So
is yeah, we're gonna see some decisions get made right now.
So the only time I would finish my objectives before doing my grind is if I was at 9 key items, and then you get your 10th key item from specifically the crystal, and then you go like that. Yeah, it looks like we have hard reflex rats coming in.
Yeah, here comes
Sid
some
being kicked out.
some
Where's
slingshot
Palom?
action.
Yep, here's the Palom. Goodbye, Kane. Again, Kane did his work. He carried us through the beginning and end. So it's okay. Oh no, taking the stuff from him. Um, yeah, it's you're kind of there, and you're kind of happy with what Kane did. He did some great work. Speaking of great work, E Ninja getting through that evil wall again, a very rude fight in a very fast location. Huge props for him to getting underground and sticking with it because that's a seed. That's a fight you're not really happy to take with the lack of what you have.
Yeah, and Zeno kept pointing out. I think the one thing I would have changed in my routing were I Plumeria Knight was I would have done. I would have knocked the I would have knocked this Sheila or the Wake Yang with the Panturnin before heading over to this. But I don't think it really matters one way or the other. And this will be.
There they are.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, so D-Money grind, not on the table. Yeah, this is where you kind of just sell the bank because you don't need anything
I mean,
else
D-Money's
now.
still on the table. You have 2 slingshots set up. But Plumeria not going for the D-Money grind.
No, I think the not faster, but just the more like standard, reliable, good old reliable D-Money.
Oh,
Nothing beats
Zeno.
it.
Okay, I missed that. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, eggs are fine. Have we seen hourglasses? I don't know if you can
We
nice
have not.
Google dragons.
We have multiple stopcasters, so, like in Palom, in Rydia, in Fu. It's a little dangerous. It's not as cut and dry, but you have those options available to you. I do agree that that is the better way to go about it. Also, Plumeria, even just saying like, let's see what this boss is first, could be some free experience, which
We've
it is not.
seen a lot of what is free. Plumeria still with the 1 hourglass. This is, this is another fight where I would rather have a Zerker, particularly since I doubt Plumeria is going to grind all the way up to Nuke.
He has the sirens for them though.
It does, but only has 1 hourglass. Like you said, you do have stopcasters. Do we see Plumeria setting up the Dragon Whip?
We do.
But this, I'm more saying with the current setup, that Odin fight, it behooves you to have a Zerker at least.
No, absolutely. Again, cramming that ATB free and full is what you're looking at here, but you're also looking at at 3 casters. Sorry, it's technically 4 if you even want to have Rydia do damage. You have 4 people who are going to cast electricity of some kind, so it's not like you're 100%. You're 100% being punished for not having a berserker. You have Odin's weakness, and you kind of have his number. It's just gonna be hoping you get those out before he puts your guys down, because again, as I mentioned, Odin likes to punch, and this is the punchiest spot in the game, tied again with Leviathan.
Well, and that I'm mixing that in my head because Rydia is the hero. Your agility is terrible right now.
We have no curse ring.
Your anchoring is not good, and those punches like Lit 3's ATB cast is long enough with poor agility that like you're gonna be lucky to get that Lit 3 off. And if the wrong 2 Lit 3 casters get punched in the face, they are not surviving that. Like you said, the high magic spots in the vanilla game are the highest punchy spots, and Bahamut is right there.
The other thing you could do is you could have Rosa do her thing with Fu, have the 2 of them start off with, again, you have your Silk Web by somebody, then you have Rosa and Fu start casting Blinks, so you at least can fight through that. and then you start casting like your nukes, because I guarantee Plumeria is going to be getting like 2 nuke level here, because there's no reason to not at this point. Like you just get to nuke, blow up the seeds, and call her a day. But
Yeah.
Tybalt gets to the king spot, doesn't even heal, and is YOLOing
Oh,
the gets to the queen spot and YOLOing the king spot. I'm 100% here for this, and wow, Rosa taking it like a champ, by the way.
this is bold.
Fortune favors the bold, and I'm here for this.
It's yeah, maybe. This is another one of those ATB things though. Like with an RA1 anchor, I would be more comfortable with what Tybalt is doing. But as you saw, like all 3 of those punches got off, and you got what, 1 blink cast off?
Yeah, but this is where we're going to start getting the slows out. We're going to start making so that he's doing
Yeah, I'm
less
not saying he's
action.
gonna lose the fight. I'm just saying it is.
Oh, we're here for a bit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's not. It's not gonna happen quickly.
Yeah, like I said, we're here. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. Plumeria though is finding out that the dragons don't like to mess around. Grind is going to be fine because we got to stop on the rear King Ryu, so we're perfectly fine. But it's just, it's
Well,
again,
and
it
not
looks
healing
scary.
up when you're trying to go for those. You at least want to heal up because they will send out that spell that does half of full damage, like 50% of HP to somebody.
Thunderbolt, fantastic.
Thunderbolt. But yeah, I mean, done well to save it. Not a huge concern, but might have saved a couple of these life pods.
But you know what? With the amount that were purchased, we're not going to see all of them being used. I do agree with the way this is going. Again, we got Cure 4 on Rosa now. I think that's also what you kind of wait for. Let the Cure 4... Oh, hey, look at Thorridge. You let Rosa kind of now just heal everybody up with Cure 4 and just kind of call her a day. And then go back in and, yeah, as we see here, empty out her MP pool and then just keep going on. Whereas speaking of emptying P pools, Cubs, what are you doing down there, buddy? You just gonna open the door and no, he has all the key items he needs. What is he? Are we seeing a door grind?
Cubs maybe doesn't want to risk the darkness shop. This is.
Nope. Okay. I don't know what's going on then.
This is. It might have tracked wrong, but yeah, with darkness with pan in hand, could be going for 10 key items. That would be my guess.
Very
Comfortably
true.
sitting at 9 key items is not where you want to be.
You know what? I 100%. Oh, wow!
God, what an absolute god!
What a pull! What a legend! That is a curse ring. Remember all that talk we were talking about agility problems? He's not going to have that. That's honestly, but by doing that and doing the run through here, I 100% agree with this. This is get your 10 key item, hoping for a 10th key item, which is pretty decent at this point. There's again a good shot that this is a zonk because we have 2, 4, 6 key items left in the pool. One of which two of which have to chain somewhere. But did he save at the save point though? He did not.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did save at the save point, but chose to not keep the curse ring.
I was gonna say, here's the really good question then at this point. You have knowledge that there's a cursed ring in there. Do you go back for it?
If I was any of the other runners who aren't utilizing Excal, Avenger, Cecil, it would be a higher priority for me. But in the case of Cubs team, I'm more fine with the agility.
Right.
Because I'm going to be running that Excal Zerker. And we'll see. So, like, Plumeria Knight doing the dragons is going to get the grind done. I think for me, logistically, I probably just do eggs as opposed to these dragon fights if I don't have hourglasses. That's my big question.
Yeah, so this is it's the okay way of grinding. Again, the math has been done. I think the hierarchy before 10 key items is eggs into D money into dragons. I could be wrong. That's just again my memory of like a discussion from, oh god, a solid 6-8 months ago. And I think after you get 10 key items, the hierarchy then changes, especially if you can kill them quickly, then changes to King Ryu's D money and then
Yeah,
eggs down
it's
the list.
primarily it's a question of uh, how quickly you can get through these fights, and knowing that Plumeria Knight has to go back underground. I guess when you have the pass in hand, you're skipping flying to the moon again and flying back from the moon again. But that Odin sort of necessitates, getting your grind done if you don't have a Zerker.
Absolutely. Tybalt here checking to see what Demas has. If this is a sec. Oh, by the way, that's a vanilla foo on the moon too. Um, that's kind of interesting. If you're one of these guys running reflex strats, do you kick
Oh,
out a
wow.
Palom for that?
Oh, Plumeria Knight not checking that. Could have maybe potentially gotten away with just not grinding at all.
I still see a grind was going to be necessary because you only want. I think you still like are going to be happy with the levels, and you want the Paloms to be doing their thing. Um, but yeah, double foo, that's so hard to pass up here. Like when you're looking at reflex strats, especially, it's just screaming for please like use this. But in the same token,
I mean,
kind of
double
okay with it.
foo with, I mean, just Palom's reflecting viruses. I think you don't have to hit a second Big Bang. It might come down to who gets counter nuked on the nerf, but
Yeah, I mean, you could have kicked out the Rosa, so you have like double twin. Yeah, I guess two. If you're throwing out the nukes, you're throwing out 4 nukes around. You don't really need the Cure 4. A hello free fight though.
yeah, Cubs. I mean, excuse me. Cubs is on the find another key item grind, and I mean this will be some good XP. But if it doesn't lead to a key item, it's not it's not game changing XP at this point.
Yeah, the nice thing is though is you're still getting. I didn't see if you got a life glitch off. You're still getting like okay experience for these places on the moon. You're also possibly pulling another, as you said, another key item, and if it's a zonk, say you pull a crystal sword, you're not going to say no to that.
No, I definitely agree with you in that regard. I just as somebody who races plenty, and I mean obviously you do as well, knowing that I'm already in go mode in
And
a
there you
giant
go.
race like this, that's great value for Cubs. But just that Luka check not giving you what you want, you see that all of go mode is already available to you underground. And now all of the question is who's going to get their grind done first, who's going to get through Zeromus faster than someone else. But I mean, Cubs with 2 foos and an Excalibur Cecil is in a pretty good spot to not have to grind and just do this Odin fight straight out. And again, even for Zeromus, you could get away with not grinding. You can throw a virus or 2. You have 2 nuke casters. And as I say this, there goes Cubs to the Giants.
Yep, I mean, there you go. I foresee a couple of fights there, or just taking the entire of the fight because he is one of those kind of shenanigan runners, and I love it. But Tybalt, also the first runner on stream who's got through 4 out of the 5 objectives. He's been busy. Like people have Woken Young. We have the Queen of Summon Monsters again on Cubs rule side. Tybalt's kind of like, hey guys, you guys are collecting levels. I'm collecting objectives. He's cheeky with the fact he's like, oh, this is enough, and we're gonna get through it. So, first runner also getting taking care of that Baron basement throne. With we have the power to take care of it now, though, from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody, the question is, what's your comfort level on the grind? What's your plan for this Odin? Because, everything's right there. It's all right there right now. And so it looks like it's gonna be different from everybody. Uh E Ninja through. E Ninja's running Kane, Cecil. So our party comps are absolutely different for every one of our runners, which is curious. And what's your grind gonna be, and how do you get through that Odin? And do you do it before, as Xenocat points out, if you can do that before starting your grind, that crystal for Tybalt would be 9 key items or 10 key items.
Yeah, and again, that's something that I love about the community races when we see, like, again, as much as I love seeing, like, the optimal strats and I love seeing that kind of stuff being shown off, I'm a big fan of people showing off different strategies with what we have. Again, we're seeing a couple of Berserkers, we're seeing some Reflect strats, we're seeing Hybrid, we're seeing Cecil Kane. I'm so here for this. Like, it's really interesting when we have the divergence that we have here, and it's what I love. I love seeing more than just like an entire team where we're going Reflect, or an entire team where it's just Berserkers. As fun as it is watching them kind of just chop up the seed, seeing is like, okay, so we have Berserkers. This is how Berserkers take this fight. We have mages. These are how mages are taking this fight, and we can actually, like, instead of you and I just talking about it, we have the fantastic runners that we have here literally demonstrating it for us, which is, again, the best part about this community. Which, for those of you who are not part of our Discord, you 100% should join. Do some of these community races if you see you like them, or if you don't, you just want to be able to join and talk again, like what PK and I do. Join the Restream team. We always love having people of various different skills and knowledge backgrounds. And if you have no knowledge whatsoever, we have so many people who are willing to help you learn. If all you played is vanilla, then trust me, you're going to do just fine. If you've never touched 4 before, we can help you from the ground up. Absolutely.
Definitely, and thank you, Scala, for sharing the Discord. And if you're lucky enough, we do have a tournament that's coming up. And if you happen to fill out the tournament sign-up sheet moderately inebriated and say that your true name is Ultimate Godslayer 5788, the wonderful Scala Kitty might decide to call you out for that publicly, and that would become a
Wait,
thing
hold,
that
hold,
doesn't go away.
what? I've been lied to. You told
That
me
was
that
what
you were the
started
God
that whole
Slayer.
thing. No, I mean that's my true name, but it's a lot of syllables, so I typically just go by PK.
I mean, no, that's fair. I mean, the true name that is behind Death is we can't talk about that one because that is about 17 different words, and it's far too. We'd be here the rest of the broadcast, and
Yeah, and if
you
you
have
say
more
it out
important
loud
things
in
to talk about.
Canada, someone's gonna slap you right across the face.
Actually, what happens is it changes me from the true Canadian I am into my weremoose form, and that it's so hard. The next full moon's not for a while, man. I kind of want to just keep doing my thing.
Oh, that's fine. Although, I mean, kind of want to see where Moose Staff is, but we'll get there.
Look, later. But for now, though,
yeah.
we have some fun shenanigans. We have Odin, who is raising a hit and is looking at Tybalt, going, I have some damage. Would you like it?"
Yeah, Odin. I mean, this. I was saying this. You said it. This is an insanely punchy spot. The one nice thing, as you'll see here, is Odin's charge isn't going to be that aggressive.
Yeah, I was wondering if you can catch someone off guard.
But it really, like, Tybalt did well, or didn't get overly RNG'd in that. The people that I think Tybalt wanted to remained alive there, because otherwise the wrong people get punched when you go in it with the levels that Tybalt has, and you're not going to have a good time. But all of a sudden, Tybalt's at 10 key items. Tybalt is in go mode. does not possess the pass, but I believe went and picked up some sirens.
He has the crystal though. That is the important thing. This is really interesting. We've seen people who are grinding. We've seen people who are running through different parts of the seed, and it's like, yeah, they're ready for these fights. And Tybalt's just been like, who needs to grind when you can just kind of run through some of these fights? And this is a big thing about knowing what kind of power limits you have. He took a team that people looked and went, we don't have the power to go through this fight. And Tybalt says, yeah, I do. Let me show you how. Was it weak fire? Let me show you how.
Hold my bow. Hold my
Exactly.
hold
That
my
heroin
sword.
robe Artemis Bow Rosa is doing work. Like, let's be honest here. But yeah, Tybalt, he's got his 10th key at him. In all honesty, with what he's got, he could run down, take some fights going down, maybe even take the D-Lunar spot if it's a freebie, which we know it's not, considering we just saw the other officer and soldier fight. And hey, Cubs Rule got, after doing his grind, got a free siren. He can grind now.
That is always the biggest, not the word I was going to use, but the biggest thing that I love about doing it is the items that you get as the result of doing a D machine grind, which is
Absolutely.
cool, thank you. So many things that I wish if I had them previously, I wouldn't have had to do this D machine grind.
I love getting hourglasses from the D machine grind, or even from like the setup for the D machine grind. That may be my favorite one. When you just like, oh, the imps, they drop it. This is back when we had E can't run. You'd fight the imps, get a kill on it, and I have some stories from that hook route. Let me tell you, where you get an hourglass and it does more than you think it ever could, which is still entertaining. But yeah. Tybalt is looking at these sirens. Warlock grind. I'm so okay with this.
Yeah, we're getting just a thorough exercise on how many different grinds there are. We have someone doing eggs. We've had a D machine grind. We've had the gold dragons, and now we're getting the warlocks. And the warlocks, when I first started playing Free Enterprise, this wasn't a grind that anybody utilized at all. But now with the availability of mute whatever they're called, mute bells, this has been popularized. And again, this is the question of Tybalt has 2 nuke casters. What do you think the threshold is? Do you go all the way?
I think at this point you're a little above 1200 HP strats at this point now. So you're just gonna go all the way up there because Rosa's past Cure 4 levels. Like, she's at 1500 HP herself. So this is where you just mute, this is where you quake, and you just kind of get them up to nuke and you go full on. So you could get the Palom and the Rydia up to 1200 HP and go from there, but I think we're far past that point now. You just kind of call her all done and watch as Palom hits the ground. These spells hurt when you're not geared up for it.
Oh, those warlocks are no joke. The warlock carry chest, it's really the warlocks that you have to watch out for if you don't immediately mute them. Also, the warlocks, if you get down to just one warlock, they start punching you, and they can, they might be magic casters, but I don't know what weapon they have, but it hurts.
Have you seen Porum with a heroin robe and a power staff, or even a heroin robe and a silent staff against mages? She hurts, man.
It's true. And she's probably angry because everyone calls her the 4th best white mage.
Absolutely. Hey, I will still say Porum is fantastic until you've watched everyone die and Porum looks at a Wyvern Mega Nuke and says, "I'm sorry, what did you cast?" And she just straight up dodges it while everyone takes it full on. You lose a lot. Like, again, I love Rosa, don't get me wrong, but I lost a lot of respect when Porum dodged it and was just like, can I help you with something?
Yeah, Porum has a sneaky high, was it willpower stat?
Yeah.
Like, the HP isn't quite as high. The bigger problem is that she doesn't get the spells as quickly as Rosa does, because she sneakily has...
He gets Berserk first, though.
And Exit, but as far as like Cure 4 goes, the difference is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
And Rosa does have a higher wisdom stat, so she does get a higher multiplier for her heals. So she is technically better in that aspect. She has the better growth. But again, getting certain spells a little bit sooner, and the twin, like you can't argue with her utility. She's so good at what she does that you can still take a Porum, and you still look at her and go, "You're not Rosa, but you're still really, really good." And there's a lot of one of our community that like
she's like 8. I mean, cut her some slack. How old is she supposed to be in this? Maybe Scala.
I think 10.
10? I thought they were younger than that. I think they were like single digits.
You know, I've played this game for so many years that we should know. But there's no way she's 5 years old.
Okay. Now I'm gonna trust Scala though. If you're gonna go against Scala,
Hold on, Ultimania time.
I'm gonna tell you that. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that you're probably wrong. I have seen Scala go into impromptu rants about various Final Fantasy games that make me 100%. I am not going to question any of this because you are erudite when it comes to the lore of all of these things. Yes, 100% not going to. Because that, 10 sounded way too old. I knew they were quite young. It's also.
Oh, I have my Ultimania here, by the way. We're
Yeah.
going through it. I don't know if you can hear me here.
Oh.
Can we do the pages going on?
No, I know you are. I'm just saying. First off, I knew it was younger than 10 because when they gave the age, it felt like just a far too young of an age to just send a child out with like a random palette. Like, I don't know who's in the party at that point, but they're like, here, you guys just go follow this person. It's like, my niece, when she was 5, did not have the ability to cast any white magic, let alone hold a full conversation.
Yeah, Cecil is only 20, and Kane is 21, and we're not going to talk about the age of Paladin Forum.
Just admit it.
Really
No, you gotta admit it.
No, 100%. I knew she was right.
No, this
Look,
is.
If anyone is going to be correcting me and putting me in my place, it's Scala. Come in the booth and put me in my place, Scala. Let's do it right now.
God Mike Scala is nearby. I
love summoning Scala in the booth for shenanigans all the time. Also, speaking of shenanigans, we have our first place finisher actually off stream. Rybon finishing with 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 6 seconds. GG's to them. While we have Tybalt and E-Ninja still doing the grind, and Cubs Rule and Plumeria finishing off another set of objectives themselves.
Yeah, there definitely, I think, was a potential route.
Hello, Scala. How are you this evening?
You wanted to say something to my face?
I apologize. I will never
really
question the knowledge that is the
Scala
good
on lore?
wizard. You are correct. The
You can call Friday Night Scala out on lore and not expect to just get brought down.
Oh no, I have 100% expect Scala to beat me, and when it comes down to memorizing lore and everything.
I really only just did that for that opening line. I was just here for the joke.
What? People just being here for the memes?
Yeah.
I
never.
I have no idea what you're talking about when it
Chat.
comes to me summoning people from memes.
Chad is out there choosing violence.
Yeah, see, you and I apparently can't be in the same commentary booth without there being a level of violence.
All right. Showdown. How old is Rosa?
19.
23? No, what? I thought she was 23.
She's 19.
Gala sounded like she did. So I'm gonna say
probably
Scala
right.
on that one.
The thing is that Edge is actually the oldest character in the party. He's 24.
Oh, I was gonna say, are we gonna go with like all characters, or are we gonna go with like the end party?
How old is Fusoya?
So okay, so
Timeless.
do you really want to get into like all the weird stuff with like Lunarian Asian? Because Fusoya is the elder brother of Kluya, and Kluya is already like several hundred years old. Because you have to remember that he brought the big whale down into Mysidia, and then like spent like a lot of time teaching magic until eventually like he dies all terribly in the DS version.
Yeah, oh man, can we talk like that's an entire conversation we could have if you know what? How long's that Tibble's still gotta walk down. We're fine. Yeah, that
You
is
got a
that is a
minute.
great scene that adds a whole lot more lore to the game, the DS version. If you've never played it, by the way, anybody listening in, 100% suggest it. You will get beaten down your first couple of fights. It's not it's a very eye opener by comparison, but super good game to play. But yeah, it's interesting seeing the different ages within the group. I really thought Rosa was like between Cecil and Kane,
No,
not
no,
younger.
no, no. She's younger. She's 19.
19 at least tracks a little bit better than her
Yeah,
being not,
Rydia, who's
given how young
7,
all the other,
Yeah, Rydia is 7, and then
and then we don't know how old afterwards.
17 is kind of where they've settled on.
It's not
Uh,
officially
it,
ever mentioned though. Like
it's
even the
it's not
Ultimania doesn't say
officially
it.
it's not officially mentioned in those sorts of things. In World of Final Fantasy, where Rydia is a guest character, she's older, and they have her at 17. So I'm like, okay, that's probably roughly where she's supposed to be.
That's fair. And that's where you get like the holds like, is she 17 in that game that takes place a little bit longer? Is she 17, in the
Oh
actual
yes,
4 or...
butts. We have to be asking questions about butts. Like no one put out any
Oh,
flags or
well,
anything.
we have a
Yeah.
we have a guest here. So
Yeah.
I think we have to throw it to you as the creator of a majority of the butts
butts.
or Sprites lacking butts.
Yeah.
I think you should ask the question.
Is this butt cute?
And whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Is it cute?
Does it have
Do I
a
want to
butt?
kiss it?
I mean, it's your art, so you obviously want to kiss all of your artwork.
Yeah. Oh, hey, those are a new one. We haven't seen this one.
Ooh,
Oh,
It's
and
Forrest
you know
and
what?
Natasha.
Yeah, it's
I'm
Rocky
so
and
here
Bullwinkle,
for
right?
this.
Yes, I had to figure out a way to refer to them that would actually fit on the overlay. Oh, sorry, on the menu. So I had to go with Spyzamas. But there you go. Yes. Thank you, chat, for being with me on being into Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Rocky and Bullwinkle was my jam growing up. This is a fantastic show growing up. And as we see Plumeria Knight in the fight, Tybalt is right hot on his heels, and I'm here for these fights.
All right, I'll let you two actually talk about fights. I feel I have fulfilled
But
my.
apparently chat wants us
you
to
want
fight,
to
so-
start something quota?
It has been
Well-
a while since you and I have shenanigans on mic together, and yeah, so like, I guess we've got that quota in for a bit. Don't worry,
Alright.
tournament's coming up. We'll fix this.
It's great
We'll
to
fix
see
it.
you. Love you,
Y'all have
Scala.
love y'all too. Y'all have a good one.
So that was our lovely, fantastic art dev who does Spyzomas from the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, as we see here of this art. And we see the reflected nukes coming out fast and furious as Tybalt is throwing out his crystal. These fights are both going to be real quick, kind of almost blink and you miss it.
Yeah, the level of grinding that we've seen, and I mean, for everybody is plenty powerful. Whether you have all casters or your Cubs team, you have that Cecil. This is not one of those tricky Zeromus fights that I think we're gonna have to be on the edge of our seat for. This is gonna be a 2.5 minute from change to end Zeromus fight. And also we have a second place finisher, Tall Grant. Tall Order has taken second at 128.23. So GG's to them as well.
Absolutely. And while we were going through that, Cubs rule gets to that final objective, gets through, and we have another rundown. Because the only person on stream who's found that pass was Plumeria Knight again, which was in the right castle of Dwarf Castle. Very cheeky check and fantastic. That is also, speaking of cheeky, crack, bang, boom. Third place, Plumeria Knight, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 24 seconds. First runner on Restream, third runner overnight, and we're gonna see if we can
That
get him
sounds like
interviewed.
something that they would have said in Rocky and Bullwinkle, like the crack, bang, boom.
It does actually. You're 100% correct.
I'm flashing back to being a child and watching Rocky and Bullwinkle. And I believe we will be joined by, or are currently joined by, Plumeria Knight, also known as PK. GG, congrats on taking third.
Thank you. It was a fun one.
So you got to the moon. You bought 30 sirens, right?
Yeah.
What was
sure did.
like? What was your mindset when you walked in and you saw that Odin? Did you think like you had needed to do a grind, right? Like, can you walk me through that?
Yeah, I just thought I didn't want to come back later. I'm doing the moon trip back and forth, so I just thought, well, maybe we'll just do the grind now instead of going back down, because it wasn't a free boss like I was hoping for.
You're the only one to have found the pass as well. So you had like there was a certain amount of logic to wanting to do the grind there. It was kind of curious, you know, lacking hourglasses. Those dragons are a little annoying.
Yes, that's definitely true. Yeah, I actually did a little bit of studying up to remind myself what the treasure chest pass flag entails, and 2 of them are guaranteed underground. So that was basically my strategy, is to not loot above ground as much as I could, and then focus looting below ground.
And that played in your favor. I mean, there was an arty bow, there was a ribbon in like Cave Evelyn, but like your evil wall fight was a little slow, but you were still the first one underground that we saw. So final question for me, it's Rydia Hero, and you're heading into ordeals into the cave. Well, what's going on there?
What's going on there is I've got 3 J items. That should be enough, right?
Was it enough?
No, it was not.
So I got something I want to share that I know, because you didn't do a lot of looting on your way down through Eblin Cave. Tybalt showed us that there was in fact a Stardust Rod on the way down there. That's a good question. You have the hook before going and doing ordeals. What drew you from not going and looting there and then just running up ordeals by comparison and not seeing what character and what kind of loot in the T Wildish was there?
Yeah, I had a white spear, so my goal was Kane, and since I knew there were several restricted characters in this flag set, I figured he was way more likely to show up in the overworld somewhere, and he could push me through. But that ordeals was a bit of a slow, rough fight. So I don't think it worked out this time, but you know, I don't hate my play there.
No, again, it's no play is a bad play. It's just what we have with the knowledge that we have. And you know what? You played fantastically well. Again, 3rd place overall and 1st place on stream.
Thanks so much. GG's to everyone else, and thanks for the restream. Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah, GG's, and thanks for letting us restream you.
We've also had Tybalt,
Chrono Cross,
who is much to the chagrin of our restreamer Harumph, playing the music. Let's see if I don't remember what restream channel we're in.
So we're gonna see if we can't get Tybalt in. Who
I've
there he is.
Tybalt in. Tybalt, GG.
GG.
So we have a Rydia hero start, and you eventually get towards that that alt gauntlet on ordeals. Let's talk before we get to this log. There he is. Let's talk about the rest of that opening of the seed. You have the world's going on. So we have a Rydia hero start, and you eventually get towards that opening items being not a dragon whip and not. Let's talk before we get to the slog that was that fun. Let's talk about the rest of that opening of the seed. You have the world's going on. You've got a cane with a spear. Oh, that was entertaining. I was a big fan of that. Also, and of course, we're getting a little bit of echo on your side. If you can mute your stream, my friend.
Yeah, because if I mute my stream, you run going on. I told Harumph to swap my audio before I came in. Blame the restreamer.
Hey. Come on now. Harumph does a whole lot of work keeping PK and I in line here.
But no, I faded Antlion for as long as I could, you know, trying to appease to some of the commentary in the booth.
I pointed that out. Yes, it came
I was here for that.
I even looted your particular chest in Lower Babel, you know.
I missed that. What was it?
But just a flame whip.
Oh,
You know what? That's still a good, a good secondary prize for Rudio.
I
So-
already had 2 others in a dragon whip. I didn't
That's
care.
very true. Okay, so we get through this. You find Kane on Ordeals, and then you manage to find that lovely alt gauntlet. How were you feeling? How did you feel when you looked in at that?
I thought, well, it's either I do it now, there's really no other faster way of doing it until I get Virus on Rydia. I've got a Dancing Dagger, I'll just do it now.
And then
It
you
was
pull out a
not-
Stardust Rod from Hook Round.
Yeah, then I pull stars, so I'm like, that would have been nice, but finding the Baron key, thinking there's no real reason to go to Ordeals. You don't have a Fu at the time, you don't have Telly, you don't have Cecil. There's no real reason to go to Ordeals, especially when you find the Hook and Ant line. And you have a Pigtail. Like, you're gonna go underground, okay, you find the Fu. If you loot, you find a ribbon, you find a Heron robe, already, but like, you've got the options to go down that Hook out with that evil wall. Just go for it. What's the point of doing Ordeals? I'm like, getting the Baron key is gonna be getting me ahead. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, and that was another question. It's you have the power of Fu, you have twins and everything. You see that evil wall. What was your thought? Were you afraid of it at all, or were you just like, this is gonna be a bit of a joke?
I wasn't afraid of it at all. I took the 4-Mad Ogres to hopefully get Rosa to Berserk, because she was getting the Artie Bow, Heron Roam, Ninja Hat, Chrysolite, just everything. Ribbon, actually. Everything. Self-Zerg, Quake and Nuke with Fu and Palom. I don't care. It's easy. I was not afraid of that.
Absolutely.
That
And
March,
you actually-
however.
that favor. So I want it noted, you were actually the first on our restream to have all of our objectives completed. You were like doing your Warlock grind while people are just finishing up their grinds and starting to do their objectives too. So you plowed through those objectives with a quote underpowered team by comparison.
yeah.
was
If
trying to
Plumerian Knight
leverage
hadn't,
Fu.
if Plumerian Knight hadn't found the pass, you probably would have been the first finisher. Or if you had found a pass.
Where was the pass?
The one we saw was underground in Dwarf Castle in the right tower actually.
It was
Oh, no.
where the 4 chests are in the tower that you have to
Yeah.
Oh, in the very top. Okay.
rope. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go that high. I
No.
would look at one chest at the bottom of the tower, and that's about it.
So yeah, so you actually went with a Rosa Berserk. You kind of went with a little bit of a different style. You had Rosa Berserk, and you seemed to be going away a little bit from the full reflect until you swapped over to that. Was there ever a time to like maybe take the Cecil and work with him, or was it just like you saw Cecil and you just said straight no?
I saw so no. I got nothing for him. No. I don't want to go to Evelyn to try and find the crystal swords. No, I've got mages. Just give me sirens on the moon. If I had the pass, I would have definitely gone back to the underground and gone with eggs, but being on the moon, no pass, I'm like, I can do warlocks. We'll get it fixed.
Yeah, everyone definitely hit sort of that that threshold of I still need to grind, but go mode was pretty darn obvious considering, you had to do the top of tower to get darkness.
There was a thought in my mind to do behemoths.
I know some people would have loved that.
I mean, we saw 4 different grinds. If you would have done behemoths, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
there was a thought like I've got I've got Artie Bow, Ninja, I got all the agility plus gear for Re. I could make a super fast anchor. I could probably do the 3 behemoths there at Bahamut and finish up somewhere in the LST with a few sirens. Then I'm like, nah, I'll just do warlocks.
Oh, it turned out all right. I mean, we had 3rd, 4th, and 5th all on our restream. I mean, thank you again for letting us watch and criticize you, and definitely for the music at the end.
No problem. I always enjoy watching these back, and I know both of you on comms are going to be really criticizing me, and I'll be able to learn even more.
Well,
No, you
Tybalt,
won't learn anything besides the fact that we're very mean individuals. Sorry, guys.
absolutely, we are in fact the worst. Also, it got so bad we had to have a third commentator come in and put us in line.
Hey, I take that as a sign of caring. Like, you actually like me. The more grief you give me, the better. I'll take it as a good thing.
I'm gonna put that on a sticky note and stick it on my monitor. But yeah, thank you, Tybalt. Any last thoughts?
No, it just it's a pretty straightforward seed. Stop giving such quick seeds there, Harumph. Would like to maybe have done some of the moon bosses, but fine. Anyway, thanks for commentating, thanks for restreaming for Harumph, and thanks for tracking Rachel Levine. GG, and have a great rest of your night.
All right, you take care.
Again, that was Tybalt, 4th place finisher, 2nd place finisher on our restream, 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 54 seconds. GG's to him. And we are joined by 5th place finisher, 3rd place on our restream, Cubs Rule, 1 hour, 35 minutes, 45 seconds. GG's, my friend.
Thank you. GG's.
So-
That seed turned in a hurry.
So I have one big question for you. You look at that cane, you turn him down, and then you go do some looting, and you find a white spear. What was your thought? What was your safe for stream thought when you saw that little combination?
I found a white spear.
You found an Avenger. There was
Yes.
a white spear in the water you passed, but I feel like the Avenger, we can just swap that in for the white spear.
I thought about. I wanted to check ordeals early just to see who it was. I wasn't gonna actually take the cane at that point. I thought maybe I'd take him later, but with Avenger Excal, I just figured I'd hold on to Sid until Cecil showed up. Thankfully, he did in Dwarf, but I don't know. I thought about it. It just I had Quake on the kids, and it just worked out.
And then the foo arrived.
And the kids went away.
Yeah, and
No.
then second foo.
That was it was probably like a 1300 nuke, so it worked out well. Yeah. The unfortunate thing was being stuck on 9 key items trying to find a 10th, just to make the grind a little easier.
We saw you run around. We thought originally you were going to go do a little cheeky door grind in Luca Cave, but I was distracted. Like, I didn't know how many key items you had. I'm like, is that a door grind I see?
It was just really COK was just unfortunately nothing, and then I got lucky with Mura. The double life glitch D machines weren't too slow, but it might have just been better to bite the bullet and do 10 on 7 key items. I don't know.
That's one of
Yeah.
those, like, the math checks out, but
That's kind of my question. Is, you know, obviously you seem to like the Cubs, but what took you to specifically like the D machine as far as like where your party was at?
That demist. I really didn't like that demist. Even with the double foos, I really didn't want to take on that fight without some levels.
so here's something that I posed to PK, and I'm going to pose to you as well. You saw that cursed ring in Luca Cave. Was there ever a thought to go back in after resetting out, grabbing it, and then getting the heck out of dodge? Or was it just one of those, I don't need this?
There was a thought, but at that point I was already set on getting Rydia and Porum to nuke in white. I had the ninja hat, so I knew I could get Rydia just to 28 instead. So there was a thought I would have kept it if there was a key item in Sealed Cave, but at that point it was just destroy everything possible.
Yeah, you kind of had power overwhelming in one way or the other. You had Cecil with an Excal Avenger. You had multiple casters that can cast Nuke. It was basically just dealer's choice for how you wanted to go about it. And you kind of fell with everyone else did. And again, it was fantastically watching you run. It was great the fact that we had every one of our runners do a different grind on stream. For example, you did D Machines. Plumeria did King Ryu's. E-Ninja did his grind a little earlier on some dragon eggs, and Tybalt actually did a cheeky warlock grind.
So were there sirens on the moon then?
Sirens were in
Yeah,
fact in the moon
that
shop.
was going to be
Didn't
my
bother.
question for you. Was if you had found those sirens there, would you have?
It was a toss-up, but with the two foos, I knew I could just get double life glitches instead. So that cut out a decent amount of the D machine time. So I think I still would have done the D machine.
Fair. I mean, you ran it well. I mean, you took 5th. We've had 3rd, 4th, and 5th all on our restream. So yeah, I mean, this is really fun to watch because everyone's party comp was different. Everyone's approach to grinding was different, and usually in a seed where you hit go mode as quickly as you do, you tend to see things run exactly the same way for everybody. So this was fun to sit around and watch other people do.
I was hoping the early Evelyn play would luck out with a Bahamut or a Leviathan, but you know what? Excalibur isn't a bad consolation prize, I suppose.
Not at all. If the seed had gone longer, I think you would have been in a really advantageous position. Because you could have, continued to go through fights without having to grind. But the fact that the go mode was just so readily available so early, I think, that's just luck of the draw.
And the Foo pretty much nerfed the hook route entirely, so what you gonna do?
Rando's gonna rando. Well, any final thoughts?
I'm glad I finally had a race on this flag set where I didn't last location go mode, so I'm okay with that. The last couple have not been kind to me.
Well, you've all been there. You've certainly all been there. Well, thank you again for letting us sit here and watch you run as Dathis and I just relax and criticize everyone.
I'm looking forward to hearing this one back, to watching this one back, hearing you too.
Oh,
Sure. Quick
not
question
just
before you
Foo.
go. How old is Porum?
6.
5, actually.
Be closer though. So much.
He was closer than me.
Dathis.
He was
So
closer
much
than me.
closer.
There may have been an Ultimania grabbing at one point. That's the only spoiler we're going to give you for comms.
Yeah. You'll definitely understand what I mean if you do watch this back. But thank you so much. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing more of you.
Thank you too as well. Levine, thank you very much for the tracking. Harumph, we need to talk about this lack of a harp thing, but meh, you're off the hook for tonight. Appreciate you having me on. Till next time, all.
All right, take care. I mean, technically there was a hook, so
Yeah, we were all on the hook tonight.
the hook was required. As we see E-Ninja making their way down once again into the deep as our final runner finishing up is Romus. Dathis, I've got to ask, do you think it, while we have a minute, and it appears Skalakitty's still in the chat, is there any knowledge that you have that you don't think Skalakitty has about Final Fantasy?
I am not going to challenge that. There may have been messages about fluffing around and finding out, and no, I'm not doing that while on restream anymore. We're gonna do that when I know solidly some information. Then we'll scout something.
I feel like this is you're gonna go into the depths of everything and try to find some obscure fact that you can use as a potential win. I thought Canadians were better at apologizing.
No, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I've 100% not lived up to my true Canadian quota. Hold on. Maple syrup, mousse, Oh, can't. No, we're not gonna go down that route.
No, you just gotta say you're sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, eh?
Eat Ninja again. Like this is another party comp. I see a Zerg cast going off.
I'm here
I
for
think,
this.
yeah, I think we're looking at more of a hybrid strat. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy 14 is the count. I
Excuse you?
for me personally, I think the lore has to stay below from 9 and below.
Really, I was gonna say because it actually works in with tactics and Final Fantasy XII's lore, because 14 is canonically taking place in Ivalice after post the Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, you can school me on this all day, but I'm not the one. I'm not the
Oh, there's a
one
lot. You
going up
had
against.
the hottest of takes, by the way. Chad is not here for that.
Well, I don't know. I don't own a PS5 or a PS4, so I'm cut off at some point by what I can get on my
PS2
set.
had 12.
Yeah, I play 12. All right, 12. Okay. Well, 12.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I primarily play Final Fantasy games that I can get ports of on my Switch. So that's about where I'm at. I had a borrowed PS4 that red ringed or blue ring, so the remake I am only about.
Oh, you
4 hours
are
into on.
sorely missing out. The 7 remake is fantastic.
I really want to play it. I just
on
I'm not gonna
Steam?
buy an entire console just to play.
It's on Steam.
I don't want to play it on PC. No, this. I mean,
Look,
You're not
controller up, It's the
wrong.
same concept.
yeah. Again, you're not wrong. I just, Xbox won it for me with the Halo games, and so
Oh, no, you're
haven't been-
100% right.
I just haven't been a PlayStation person since PS2.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I got my PS4 just for the remake and a couple of Digimon games, which were pretty fantastic and worth the pickup. Hey, I'll admit it. I'll throw it out on stream.
No, I'm not. I'm not criticizing you at all. I love it. I'm mentally like when I bought Pokemon Snap, I thought it was gonna be like a real Pokemon game, and not like riding around taking pictures of Pokemon. So
Okay.
I'm curious what the Digimon games are.
But like for real, Pokemon Snap is actually a fantastic alternate to like the typical Pokemon game. They
Stood
are
the test
fun.
of time. It stood the test of time, and anyone who disagrees with me is clearly wrong.
Also from Pause and Morpheus in chat, yes, we 100% can be best friends. Cyber Sleuth is fantastic. It's a great Digimon game. I've loved it. The DS games, the Digimon World ones, were really fun too, by the way. We do have. I mean, should we go on track? Or should we just keep...
Digimon are the champion. Like that song was so not. like,
Excuse? Are we gonna have an actual problem here?
Like of all the theme songs for all of the things, the Digimon song just didn't quite get there for me.
Okay, to be fair, like which one? Are we gonna talk like the English one? Or are we gonna talk about the Japanese
Well,
one?
I just
Are we
sang
gonna-
one. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
that's
come
the
on.
one. That is it. That is the one. I have nothing against Digimon, and I always keep using the term "the heart of the cards" in my head whenever I play anything that has cards to do with it. It felt like they really like took. That was like their first try on the song. They were like, "Oh, we got it. We've nailed it."
So you know what? I'm not gonna fight you on that because you're kind of right. I will say that the like opening song is bad. However, the songs that they have in like the mid fights and
Yeah,
everything like
so-
that, fantastic. They were so good. Also, yeah, in chat going on, the original Pokemon theme, 100%.
Exactly.
absolutely ruined. I can't fight that. I can't fight it.
No, and if
Like
you did,
Zeromus,
you would-
I can't
you would
fight
be
against
wrong.
that take.
But that was my only. That's my hottest Digimon take. Like there's a school in Michigan, Western Michigan, and their theme song is like Western Michigan take the ball, make a score, win the game. And that's what the Digimon like track feels like. It's just like, did no one edit this? Like, we're just going with this. We're just going with take the ball, make
that's
a score, win the
entertaining.
game. Like, that's where I feel like we landed. They landed on the Digimon theme at least.
No, you know what? I can kind of I can get behind that. I'm unlike this Porum, I'm gonna at least stand behind the fact. Oh no, wow, Porum actually survived the nuke. The thing is I do love the fact that like I love the show was pretty solid when I was growing up. The music inside was done fantastically. A lot of the Japanese audio was actually pretty fantastic. I only just recently watched it.
Was that what was it? What was the one where you had the little device that you could carry around that you raised monsters on?
Either Tamagotchi or there actually was a Digivice
There was
version
the
of it too.
Digimon one, I think.
Yeah, there was like
I own
3 of
those.
them.
We had that was an aggressive amount of contention in my elementary school.
Dude, always.
The Digi thing, because it was like, well, do I want to fight Graham? I don't know, because if I lose, that would just be devastating.
Also, we are learning now. We are learning now that there's apparently a Kingdom Hearts Tamagotchi. Oh, so by the way, the actual important things here.
And
Ninja, our
has
6th place finisher, 1 hour, 56 minutes, 55 seconds. GG's, my friend. That's honestly very, very well played seed by you.
Kind of. We'll go with kind of.
Oh, it's 6th place. This is a bizarre seed. There was that All Gauntlet there. Like, when you finally did the tower, what did you feel like when you actually, like, you're like, oh, I'm already in go mode?
I was like, where am I going to get my levels from? I never went to the moon to see if there were sirens there, which they were. Which, if I had, I would probably hit the moon a little bit earlier. And, geez, the key... the item tally... I'm not sure what the item tally was for everybody else.
We saw one person who actually ran 4 10 key items, which was Cubs. Everyone else just took the items they had and ground on that. So, yeah, a lot of people did not hit that 10 key item threshold.
But you had a really uncomfortable 9 key items where 10th would have been your crystal if you turned it in the pan to shield.
How many key items did I have? I don't really remember.
Let's ask our lovely tracker,
if
Raging
you
Levine,
didn't turn in
how
the
many key
pan
items?
to Sheila, there was no way you were getting 10 key items.
Oh yeah, I had 8 of 10.
Yeah, you would have hit 8 with the crystal because Sheila had 2, and that would have put you at 9. And then you're sitting at 9, and you still have to get through that Odin, or go somewhere else to find another key item. So it was really. Yeah, it was a tightrope walk to try to figure out how you wanted to grind this seed. I think that was the biggest takeaway.
I was just going with the standard, I had sirens, so I was like, I'm just going to pop as many until I feel to a comfortable zone, then grind.
And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. A lot of the seeds are being comfortable with the power that you have, right? So if you have to get to that level there by doing it one way or another, perfect. Again, we saw multiple different grinds. Tybalt did a little bit of Warlocks. We saw some cheeky D machines. We saw you doing eggs. We saw the King Ryu grind. Again, the fact that everyone did something different, which was great, by the way. So don't think like, oh, I did it wrong. No, you did absolutely fantastic for what you were able to show off and how you're getting through. And again, really good work getting through that evil wall fight. That Rubicante spot is deceptively fast.
Yes, I know it is, and I've picked up a lot of advice from other runners like Awesome, who basically said it's more of a survival race. It's just more of a DPS race than anything else.
Yeah, they're definitely two. Like, if you watch this back, so Plumerian Knight did a really good job of surviving until the crush phase and then taking advantage of the crush phase, and then other runners, had higher hit points, had higher experience, and did sort of that damage race. But and with the Sea Hero flag on, it really tests you because you don't have that like perfect agility setup at all.
That's true.
So I mean, again, GG. It was straightforward as far as finding go mode, but
yeah,
once you had that, we saw 4 different grinds. So like there's everybody was scrambling at that point. But any final thoughts?
None to knowledge. No.
Well, thank you for letting us watch, and we may have devolved away from Enterprise for about 15 minutes at the end.
What? We would never do such a thing.
No, I know, but thank you, Ninja. Dathis, I'm gonna let you take us out, but Dathis, thank you so much for not getting super mad at me as I called some of your takes wrong. And
it's okay.
You
You're allowed to have
team,
your
but
wrong
I'll let Dathis thank everybody and take us to our next place.
You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Ninja. Have a good night as well. Again, E-Ninja, our 6th place finisher overall, 4th place finisher on stream. Fantastically well raced. GG's to them. Again, Pitbull, Plumeria, E-Ninja, Cubs Rule. Big shout outs to them. Please show them a follow. We couldn't put on the show if it wasn't for the ones who wanted to put on and let us restream them, as well as huge GG's for the one who really makes everything go on, Harumph, for doing our lovely restreaming. And we had the fantastic Raging Levine, who did our tracking to keep us honest. And as PK said, my fantastic co-commentator who keeps me honest, keeps me hot take, and allows me to summon our fantastic art dev, Scala Kitty, in for a 3rd commentator. Doesn't happen often. When it does, it's a fun time. That is all from us for tonight. Be sure to come back. I think we have tomorrow we are going to be doing, let me double check.
I believe there's like a Baron Heroes journey.
Tomorrow we do have the Baron's Hero Journey on Free Enterprise 1 at 3 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to go and check out that. It is definitely going to be a good time. Speaking of good times, though, tonight we are going to be going and raiding Tall Grant. He's running an async from the 99%ers Community Club, so that is a warning for those of you who are still running it. Be careful to not get spoiled. Also, do not spoil the results of this race or there will be a bonk. Scala will find you. Believe me, those newspapers hurt. I've been hit by them more than enough
If we've learned
times.
anything tonight, Scala will find you.
All the time. Scala does nothing but find us. But as for us, that's PK, myself, and the rest of us from the commentary team out of here. You guys have yourselves a fantastic evening.